Hello, Abnormal Investigations. How's everybody doing? I miss talking to my abnormal family, and I miss doing the boots on the ground. Man, this rain has really put a hamper on it. I've really wanted to get out there and do some boots on the ground, and I'm looking for a day that's going to allow me to do that. But right now we have a lot of flooding right now, so it's not real safe down there. But as soon as it is, guys, I will be back out. I also have a breakdown that I'm working on that's going to be coming out. It's going to be a really, really good breakdown. It's a really wild one. You're not going to want to miss that live. This is a really weird one, and I'll give you more information on it as we get closer to releasing it and what day we're going to do it and everything. But it is a crazy one, trust me. It's going to be a wild show. Alright guys, I've got this encounter I'm going to share with you. I hope you enjoy it. If you don't mind, please smash that like button. If you haven't subscribed, I'd like to invite you to subscribe. And we'll jump into this one. I haven't spoken about this event in many years. I don't know if anyone will find it scary or creepy, but for me, experiencing it firsthand was terrifying. My parents divorced when I was 6, and then I lived with my mom, seeing my dad every weekend. As early as I could remember, we'd spend at least a day with my dad's best friend Mike and his family also. Mike had 2 sons, one of whom quickly became one of my best friends. When I was around 12, Mike got a job offer and moved to Mississippi. It was a sad moment for everyone involved. Less than a year later, my dad told me we'd visit our friends during my summer break. I was pretty sad knowing that I wouldn't be able to see them except for on my summer breaks. Growing up, my dad had instilled in me a love for the horror and the paranormal movies and unknown related topics. But we always believed that they weren't true. They were just something that we would use just to pass the time and have fun to get scared together. My mom's occasional disapproval. She was a believer and a fanatic like my father and me. Or, I guess, we wanted to believe. You know how it is. You think you believe, but you're not sure if you do. My dad told me we'd explore New Orleans cemeteries, voodoo shops, take haunted tours, and go ghost hunting at midnight. We got a late start, and by the time we arrived in New Orleans, everyone was hungry. We found a Bubba Gump's restaurant across from the unique building that looked like a chunk of a castle. During lunch, I noticed a couple sitting at a round table outside the building. They were dressed in light gray t-shirts, had jet black hair, wore 1990 style sunglasses, and had ash gray skin. They hadn't moved throughout the whole lunchtime, which gave me an unsettling feeling. After lunch, I asked my dad about the couple. He said he had noticed them too and jokingly told me they were vampires. An older gentleman sitting nearby overheard us and approached my dad. He claimed that the tourism had given the beast an opportunity to take advantage of the foot traffic and warned my dad to buy protection spells from voodoo priestess, that they were thick in this town. The old man pulled my dad aside and spoke to him in private. My dad's expression changed and he looked a little worried. He held my hand tightly and said we needed to make a detour. As we walked away, I glanced back at the couple. They turned their heads toward me, pulled their sunglasses down and smirked, showing sharp fangs. Their eyes were bloodshot and irises were the color of red, like I've never seen before. But this was New Orleans, and I figured it was a costume or some kind of a fad, right? I felt terrified, and I told my dad what happened. He scooped me up in his arms, and we continued to the voodoo shop. The shop was located in a dark alley, and the air felt heavy and foreboding. A lady came out, and she startled us and said, "Come, come, I have what you need." She mixed a red powder with my blood and gave me a vial on a string to wear as protection spell. She took my blood with what looked like a blood sugar tester. I can see this going bad already. Sorry guys, I usually don't intervene, but wow. She warned us that the spell would stop the vampires from feeding, but not their attraction. When we left the shop, the couple was standing in the middle of the street, looking angered. They seemed to be staring at the necklace, and you could feel the anger oozing off of them, like they were mad at me because I had went and done this. The rest of the day seemed normal, but my dad and I felt the necklace prevented something bad from happening. Whether it was a planted false security of truth, I'll never know. I'll never know if the vampires exist, or if those two were actual vampires who found me alluring. What I do know is that I felt pulled to the couple, and I've had a life full of bizarre, unexplained paranormal events. As we walked back to our car, I couldn't shake off the feeling that we were done with the couple, right? Well, my dad seemed to sense it too, and he kept a close eye on me. We drove back to Mike's house in silence, each lost in our own thoughts. That night, I had trouble sleeping. I kept thinking about the couple in the voodoo shop. I wondered if the spell was really working or if it was just a placebo effect. As I drifted off to sleep, I felt a chill in the air, like one where I couldn't even get warm. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was freezing. Even though the room was warm, no matter how much I covered up, it was like I was cold to the bone. A really hard way to explain it is, just picture being very, very cold and you can't get warm, like when you have the flu but without the sickness. Best I know how to describe it, Mike. The next morning, we decided to head back home. As we drove away from New Orleans, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. I was glad to be leaving the city and its mysterious energies behind. But as we drove, I noticed something strange. The GPS kept rerouting us, taking us on detours and back roads. It was as if something was trying to keep us in the city. Eventually, we found ourselves back in the French Quarter near the unique building where we first saw the couple. My dad and I exchanged nervous glances. What were the chances of us ending up here again? As we drove past the building, I saw the couple standing on the corner watching us drive by. They didn't move or react. They just kept staring at us with this weird intensity. My dad accelerated, and we quickly left the area behind. As we finally escaped the city's grasp, I felt a mix of emotions, relief, fear, and confusion. What had just happened? Was it mere coincidence, or was it something more sinister at play? The drive back home was long and quiet, each of us lost in our own thoughts. When we arrived, my mom greeted us warmly, but I could sense a hint of concern behind her smile. She noticed a necklace around my neck and asked my dad about it. My dad filled her in on the events of the past 2 days, and she listened intently. When he finished, she looked at me with a serious expression. You know, I've always told you about the supernatural and that it is real. You and your dad shouldn't be playing around with it, but I never thought we'd encounter it firsthand. She paused, collecting her thoughts. That necklace around your neck should have never been given to you. That is witchcraft. You should rely on God. She took my necklace, tossed it into my dad's car, and told him that if he wanted that kind of evil with him, then he could have it, but it was not welcomed at her home. Thank you for sharing my story. I'm going to say that I agree with your mom, and I think she done the right thing. You definitely don't want to be giving your blood to people and having them put spells on it and wearing it around your neck and mixing it with things. I think that's just asking for a whole lot of trouble. And the lady at that shop might have been working with the people that was at that restaurant. You never know. It could have been a whole set-up deal. But I'm glad you're safe, and I'm glad you made it back home, and this is definitely a wild one. Thank you for listening, guys. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, again, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and as always, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. We'll see you on the next one.